Well, no, I haven't gone completely mad. This isn't a new garden ornament. This is my markings for what we hope is going to be a really lovely addition to this garden, a new iris border. A narrow, probably around 3-foot bank of irises. We were inspired by our visit to Mannington Hall yesterday for the Vintage and Antiques Fair, but they were also selling these fantastic iris plants. Just look at this gorgeous beauty. The variety is called Raja, with that pure yellow upright with the striated or striped lower leaves, and then that lovely pure yellow throat of the bearded iris or beard. Absolutely gorgeous. Plenty of buds to come on this plant, but the reason I picked this one was it's so well grown and gives me the opportunity to split this after flowering, probably this one into at least 5 plants, and its counterpart here again 5 or 6. You see all those side shoots coming off the main rhizome. They've been really well grown and they were excellent value at $6.95 from a specialist nursery. What we're going to do is plant them in a row at the edge of this little gravel courtyard so we get the architectural structural upright, but also, if you can see, the long effect with that dark shady background under the trees and hedge in the distance. I think these are just going to pop. Now, you've probably watched our videos on this little bank of iris, which was only planted out last year as an overspill really of all the irises that we split from the main long border, which is here. The effect I'm hoping to recreate on that element of the garden is the same as we've got here, just about to explode into colour, and you're looking through them with that dark background behind. They should really pop for the short period of time that the irises flower, but for the rest of the year then we get the architectural structure of looking through, both as the stems come up but after they've finished the lovely fresh leaves as they grow away. And here's the view from where we sit and eat on this patio just behind the new barn. You can see the same effect I'm looking to recreate here with the upright structural elements of those irises and the flowers just held at the level we hope against that dark background. Should be really good. Now, we were originally thinking we would just pop them in through this gravel without extending the pathway. This is what's become a service area really on the back of the barns as the paths sweep around from the old cottage vegetable garden through into the main body of the garden. But actually we've dug down and done a little exploratory work, and there's quite a bit of crush and hardcore underneath this level. So rather than digging that all out, we've got plenty of lawn here, and what we're going to do and what I've marked out is an edge where we're going to take this grass out, create a new border approximately 3.5–4 feet deep, and that should allow us to recreate what we've got at the back of the quadrant garden. 3 rows of iris, and we've got plenty of iris that again we've just been growing on, but that I want to move into this area. Now, these are the irises that were moved in a real rush at the end of last season when Phil the Digger Man was coming to take all the landscaping levels back in front of the new barn, and they were all just planted out very quickly. We don't know what colours they are, but you can see this is quite a shady area of the garden, and although they've grown away really well, only one of them's been drawn into flower and will determine what colour that one is, but I can't honestly tell you the varieties of the rest. So it's going to be a bit of a potluck planting in the new border, and we may have to move them subsequently to try and get blocks of colour, which I'm particularly keen on. Although, having said that, I do love the mixed colour that we've got in that planting in front of the shed. We've been squeezing irises into mixed herbaceous borders all over the place over the last 12 months. Again, they're better if you can give them a good deal of light and space. You can see this one, a good established clump, but only 2 flowers, and I think again this is a consequence of it being planted in a rather dense planting with lots of other things which are probably more vigorous and faster growing coming up. Just see that oxeye daisy at the front here, and the rose to the side. And in front of this last year we had a massive evening primrose, I think it was, which was probably about 6 foot tall in front of it. So struggled a little bit, and they'll do far better I think if we can get them into a monoculture in a dedicated iris border and reward you with lots more flower. This one's yet to open up fully, but lovely. bronzy yellow flower developing there. So the job today is to try and remove and get a good line, nice curve around there, expose the soil just at the same level as the gravel, and then what we'll do is get our irises transferred over and planted into this area and top dress out with the gravel so they look as if they've been planted into the patio area. Hopefully I'll show you the progress as we continue with this, and we'll end up with a fantastic new planting of irises to enjoy next year. Well, there you are. In a blink of an eyelid we have an iris border prepared. Very easy for me because I actually didn't do it myself, just watched Daniel do all the hard labour for us this morning and afternoon, and he's done a very fine job as well. Tilled the soil, had a couple of sacks of well rotted mushroom compost worked into this end of it. We're going to pop a couple of gravel paths between the gravel area and the lawn for walking through, where we're not going to plant any irises, but we're now starting to be ready to move some of the irises out of the vegetable garden, and we're going to start planting. So let's see how we get on this evening. We've got rain forecast tomorrow and Wednesday, so hopefully this is an ideal time to try and get as many moved and in position. Not an ideal time to be moving irises. Would normally wait until they'd finish flowering, but we've got a lot that were moved late last season and haven't flowered this year, so we're just going to crack on and get them positioned now and get them growing away so that next year we've got a fantastic see-through border. Got a little furry friend, seen some digging going on. I should say furry, feathery. So expect 3 of them to be joining us very shortly. We're starting to plant these. The 2 we bought over the weekend we're going to plant as complete plants rather than splitting them at this time of year. We've dug holes more or less the size of the pots. You want the Irish rhizome to be close to the surface, but what we're doing is just puddling these in using a technique where you fill a hole with water and just let the dirt that falls into the hole carry it down onto the base. Got to be a little careful that they don't rise up and lift, as that one just has. But then what we'll do is let this completely soak away and then firm them in and get them in an upright position. So first 2 in, plenty more to go. We're going to go and dig some of the ones that we've put in a holding bed end of last season and start bringing some of those much smaller plants into this new iris border. Well, we're starting to plant these rhizomes, which were dug up the end of last autumn, I think, and just healed into rows on the vegetable garden. They've been growing away quite well, not as well as the ones we've been looking after. They have been a bit swamped. This is a sort of typical rhizome after a few years. You can see where the original growth here has then split with these buds. You can see a little bud just coming up here. But this is absolutely ripe for removing this central old rhizome and breaking these little arms off. Look, there's a perfect new plant, and these will do far better for being removed, put out into some fresh deep compost. Now if you want, you can leave the last one and plant the whole rhizome on, but what I tend to do is, because you can see there's very little roots, you can see where the roots have rotted away on the old central bit, is just break that off at the base, and there you've got 4 lovely young rhizomes. This can be just healed in somewhere and it will shoot again, and this will grow away and you'll get a subsequent 5th one off that. But I'm going to have so many. Just look at the barrow load. We just dug up the 2 rows that we'd healed into the old kitchen garden, and I've got probably enough in that barrow load to finish most of this border, and that's without going onto the new vegetable garden where I've got another 3 rows of much better grown on plants. But I just can't bring myself to waste these, and they'll do absolutely brilliantly next year. Problem is we're not absolutely certain what the colours are on these. Got one flower here that looks like it could be a lemon, Jaxiona lemon one, but they all came from around the front of the barn in the courtyard where we have predominantly blue. So again, probably going to end up as a mixed planting for a couple of years, and then we'll start sorting them out when it's time to replant them for the 3rd and final time into coloured groups or blocks. Depends how gorgeous the mix is really, but I just love irises, and I think as we look through this lot, if we do get that good 3-4 footer growth with these flower spikes. The whole border is going to be fantastic. The pots are marking where we're going to leave an unplanted path to allow us access from the gravelled area onto the rest of the old vegetable garden. So we'll see how we get on. More planting to do. I'll show you the end result when we're done. Well, just look at that, just half an hour's planting. Must admit we did have a lovely supply of well grown on irises. These ones were in the old vegetable garden. Soil's not nearly as fertile here. Haven't done nearly as well, just one coming into flower. And again, we don't know what the colour of these are, but just look what we found down on the new vegetable garden. These absolute stunners, just look at that. Now I think the entire back row of these is the same variety, which was split at the end of last season and planted down there. These were growing as part of our main iris display the previous year before we decided to go on a monoculture, a single variety and display. But this border is all about mixed colour displays, and I don't mind mixing them up. And the different heights, just look, it might be to do with the soil being so good down on that new vegetable plot that these have put almost a foot on the pot grown versions we bought from Mannington, but I think the colour combination is going to be superb. Absolute cracking plants. We are going to water these in really well. We're in for, just look at the sky, hopefully some torrential rain over the next 24 to 48 hours, which is going to help with these. Going to get the rest of the planting done. I've still got another 2 rows to move into this new planting, so I should be able to finish the planting here completely from stock that we've grown by division. And I know it's a lovely situation to be in, to have all these iris plants to plant into this large display. To have gone and purchased all these from a nursery or garden centre would have been a considerable outlay, so a little bit of patience in a mature gardening like this and moving them around really does give them a boost. I think they're going to be absolutely fantastic this time next year. We're going to water them. We are going to deadhead these because those are just going to rock the newly planted rhizomes and roots out of the ground if we get any wind at all. So yes, this is the last we're going to see of those beautiful iris blossoms on the actual plants this year. We're going to take these as cut flowers, and how luxurious is that? I think they're going to look absolutely wonderful. Enough of them to make a decent vase display. So keep tuned to see how this border comes on. Should get it top dressed, finished planted and gravel in between these on Thursday, so you should be able to catch the updated version to see how they're doing on our next garden tour, which will hopefully be next weekend. Thanks for watching.